Hello, welcome to today's video. We are on page number 170 of the Keyboard Musicianship Book 1. And so we're talking a little bit about analysis and performance. There's no writing of chords here. We're not filling in the blanks like we did for the previous pages. We're simply going to try to figure out what the chords are and play the music. Now, it says here, before playing When the Saints Go Marching In, let us analyze the left hand harmony. Okay, so just the left hand first, and then we're going to write the chord symbols above the melody. Now, when it says there are many slash chords, I honestly have no idea what they mean by that, but I'm guessing it means non-legato. But let's go ahead and see if we can understand based on the context. Okay, so in the left hand, we have this chord here. And of course, we see that we have an outline in the right hand, spelling out or preparing us to go to D major, preparing us for D major. So in the right hand, or excuse me, in the left hand, we have D, G, G, D. Okay? So I suppose if you wanted to, on beat number 1, we can go ahead and write D. And then on beat number 2, we have G/G. And then on beat number 3, we go back to D major. Okay? And we'll do that again for the next measure. Measure number 3, it's its own chord. We see it's a triad of D major. And then in the left hand, on measure number 4, on beat number 2, we have the 5/6/5 of D, which is going to be this A7 here in first inversion. But we see in the right hand, we have a chord tone, and that's the 5. So that's really nice to put there. Go ahead on beat number 1, write A7/C#. And of course, if you want to write the Roman numerals underneath, that's another option for you to do. Okay, let's continue on and continue to understand what these chords are. We have a D chord there, beats 1 and 2. Now this is interesting. Looks like we have D7, which is the dominant chord of, well, what's the dominant of D7? For what key? Because we cannot play dominant 7 in the key of D major. That's chromatic, because we're supposed to have another chord, and that's our A7 chord. We can't have two dominants in the same scale. So instead of understanding the analysis here, I suppose we're just going to go ahead and put D7 in measure number 5 for beats 3 and 4. And just for your information, that's going to be the dominant of G major, and we know that the key of G major is the 4. So the dominant of 4, if you wanted to be technical about it, underneath. Let's go now to the next measure, number 6. And look at that. It brought us to G major, which was 4. That's a good resolution right there, okay? And then we have, G minor. Interesting. This is a nice little kind of device that's used in music, because notice here, we have C, B natural, B flat, A. We're moving in half steps. And that's a device used harmonically. We're not going to be discussing too much of the harmonic theory behind that, but let's just go ahead and say this is a G minor / D. Okay? And then, of course, the next chord, once again, D major, A7/C#. We know that's going to be D major because it ends on D and it has all the chord tones of D major. Alrighty then. After we create, or after we understand what the harmonies are, and you've written out the chords on top, and of course, if you want to write the analytical Roman numerals on the bottom, that's also fine. Let's go ahead now and play our music. 1, 2, 3. Very nice little melody. Okay, so a basic understanding of harmony there. Very good. Now let's go to Soldier, Soldier, or English melody or English music. It says here, when chord tones are prominent in the melody, and when they repeat, as in measures 1, 2, 5, and 6, it is not necessary to double that tone in the left hand. So what that means is, well, let's take a look at measure number 1. We have a pickup note, C to A. The first chord we see is, or not a chord in the left hand, it's just an interval. But based on this interval, and of course the key signature, this looks like F major. Shouldn't we be playing an A also in the left hand? Well, not necessarily. Just as the instructions said, if there is a prominent chord tone that's being played in the melody, we don't exactly have to put it in the left hand also. Let's see what would happen if we did add the A. It's perfectly fine, but let's try to thin out the harmony a little bit since the third is being prominently played in the right hand melody. So you see that there? The third not included in the left hand, we're simply playing the fifth. And then we have on measure number 2, let's go ahead and determine what this chord is. We have a sixth interval. Usually when we have a sixth interval, that means we have an inversion of a chord. So what chord do we have here? Well, it looks to be the dominant of F major, which is B flat, but of course this is in second inversion. Okay, now B flat is not included in the left hand here because the right hand is repeating it quite a few times. So let's write out our chord symbols there on top. We go back to F there. And our chord symbol there of B7/E. Excuse me, not B7. C7, my apologies, C7. This is actually the 4 when I said B flat. That's not the dominant, that's the 4. But C7 is definitely the dominant. So that's C7/E. Pick up again. Once again, not including the tonic, or excuse me, the root of B flat, because we're repeating it quite a few times there in the right hand. Back to F. And that's C7/E. 4/1. Now remember, when we write our chord symbols, we want to write it the pop way. B flat/F. And then F, of course, by itself. Same thing goes for this chord and for that chord. So write the appropriate chord symbols. If you want to write the Roman numerals on the bottom, that's perfectly fine as well. Now let's go ahead and play everything together with our understanding of the harmonies. there you have it. Let's practice that, make sure we understand those chords, and we will see you next lesson. Bye-bye.